Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Alina, also known as AV Knits, and in today's video I wanted to share with you guys some spring inspired knits that I really want to cast on for this year. I don't think I'm actually going to get to all of these knits because I have 8 to show you, and I did recently have a baby, so my time is very limited when it comes to knitting. But I am hoping to at least cast on a couple of these items, so I'm really excited to share these with you, and I hope that you find some inspiration out of these. And without further ado, let's go ahead and begin on the first garment that I have to share with you. So the first item I have to share with you is the Gemma polo by Cookie the Knitter, and it is a top-down sweater worked as a raglan. It's a really pretty sweater that has a beautiful collar, and then it has a opening for the button band here and little buttons on the front that make it look very elegant and cute, and it just really reminds me of spring, especially the colors that the designer used on the sweater. The lavender contrast color is really pretty, and if I end up knitting this sweater, I really want to also incorporate a spring color like that, something bright, something fun, and it's just a really pretty design that I hope I can get to cast on for this upcoming spring. The yarn used for this item is a DK weight yarn, which I feel like are the most commonly used in garments, so I think it's pretty easy to find a yarn choice with a DK weight. The yarn that the designer recommends for this project is by Lanagato in Super Soft, which is 100% virgin merino wool, which will definitely keep you cozy in the springtime if you want to use this yarn. But if you want something more airy, maybe you can use a plant-based yarn instead. But yeah, what really caught my eye on this garment is just the front of it with the collar and the little button band at the front. I just think it looks very dainty and feminine, so definitely something that I would love to cast on. Now this garment does have a size range from extra small to extra large, or it can fit a bust circumference from 101 to 131 centimeters. And then the sleeves have a nice little touch to it as well because they are balloon sleeves, and then you end them in a ribbing, so I think it's a very lovely pattern. Hopefully I get a chance to cast it on. So that was the first garment that I had to share with you. The second one I have to share is also by Cookie the Knitter, and it is the Somme cardigan, which is a really feminine, dainty looking cardigan. I feel like it's a really nice pattern for springtime, even summertime, because it does have all of these eyelets throughout it, which most likely will not keep you warm, which is fine for the springtime because it's usually warmer in those months anyway. But this pattern is also knit top down, and it has the eyelet pattern all throughout it. And then this garment also does have short rows that you knit in the shoulders just to give it a better shape to the garment. And then for the button band that goes down the cardigan and around the neck, it is knit using a rib pattern, and I just feel like it all blends in really well together. The yarn recommended for this garment is using a silk mohair. The designer uses 2 strands held together throughout it, and I think it gives a really nice kind of fuzzy, kind of lightweight type of look to it. I mean, you could knit it in whatever yarn you choose, but I feel like if I were to cast this on, I would definitely choose to knit it using a silk mohair because I really like the airy look that it gives the garment. It's really lovely, very dainty looking, and definitely something that would be really pretty to wear in the springtime just because of how lightweight it looks. And then this garment is made to fit a bust circumference of 100 centimeters to 167 centimeters. So definitely a lot more size inclusive than the last pattern, which is always really nice, and we always love to see that. But yeah, it's a really lovely pattern, and definitely something that if I don't cast on for this upcoming spring, I definitely want to cast it on in the future just because it has such a pretty look to it. Okay, the third item I wanted to share with you is the Freestyle shirt by Suzanne Mueller. It's a really basic tee, but I really like the shape of it. I think it looks really classic, and it literally looks like something you can buy at the store. I just really like the way the designer went about creating the shape of it. I think it just looks really nice. And this garment is finished off with a folded hem at the sleeves and at the body from what it looks like in the picture, which I think really adds to that store-bought look that it gives. This is a pretty simple tee that's a raglan knit top down. Of course, we love to see that. And the designer does add German short rows in the back, which really adds to the shape of it. We always appreciate that. This tee does ask for a sport weight yarn, and the designer recommends using a cotton based yarn for this, which is really perfect actually for the spring/summer months because the cotton is going to be breathable on your skin, so really nice to use for that. Of course, you can use whatever yarn you like, but I think I would stick to the cotton-based yarn for this shirt just because I don't want to be sweating while I'm wearing a t-shirt. And then the size range for this shirt is extra small to extra extra large to fit a bust circumference of 88 centimeters to 133 centimeters. So yeah, that is a tee that I really want to cast on. Maybe if I don't get a chance to cast it on for the spring, I will push it over to the summer, but definitely something that I'm looking forward to casting on because I really like the sleek look it gives. I could definitely wear it to work as well as the business casual outfit, so definitely really nice for that. Okay, next garment I have to share with you is the Sofie sweater, also by Suzanne Mueller, and it's a really pretty sweater where it has a wrap look to it that creates a nice V in the front, and it is connected at the bottom, so it's not something that you can just undo if you don't want to keep it wrapped anymore. So it is supposed to be worn as a wrapped look to it, but I think it's really lovely to have for the springtime because you can just wear a simple tee under and then you can throw this over the top, and then you don't need to wear a separate jacket or anything because this would be kind of like that second layer that you would wear, which I think is really appropriate for the weather. This is definitely something that I could wear to work as well, and it does give more of a professional look to it. So yeah, this sweater is worked by starting at the neckline and then working the shoulders and then picking up stitches for the front and then connecting the front pieces to the back and just kind of knitting back and forth until the length you want. And then you close up for the wrap part of it, and then you go in and pick up stitches for the sleeves to finish off as well. And then the sweater is finished off with a rib around the edges and as well as the cuffs. So definitely a really pretty design. I really hope I get a chance to cast this on. And the yarn that is recommended for this is a DK weight yarn. So the designer actually uses a DK weight yarn held together with a silk mohair, which if you wanted to have more of that fuzzy look, definitely use the mohair. If you didn't, you could probably opt out of it, but I would probably choose to use a mohair just because of that fuzzy look that it gives the garment is really pretty in my opinion. And then the size range for this garment is an extra small to an XXL to fit a bust circumference of 89 centimeters to 130 centimeters. So yeah, that is the Sofie sweater. Definitely a really pretty design and something that I am looking forward to casting on. Okay, next item I wanted to share with you is blouse number 1 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. This is definitely a garment that has been going around for a while now. I've seen it a lot on Instagram, on YouTube, so definitely not a newer item to share, but it has been something that has been in my Ravelry for a while now, as something I want to cast on just because I really like how simple it is, and I really like the boat neck of it as well. I just think it's something different. Usually when I knit up sweaters, they all have the ribbing around the neck and they all kind of just look the same, but this one is a little different. It just kind of goes straight across like that, and I really hope to cast this on. But yeah, I think the boat neck is really something that's different. But yeah, I think it's definitely something that can be dressed up for a special occasion just because it does have that little different look to it. And the way the sweater is worked is from the top down, of course. I think all of these that I have to share with you are actually top down, but the method that My Favorite Things Knitwear uses for this is the contiguous method for the sleeves and the yoke, which is a little bit different from the raglan that we have been seeing mostly. Now this sweater is meant to have more of a negative ease to it, not so much positive ease, so it is going to be a little bit more fitted to the body. And the sizes that it ranges from is an extra small to a 4XL to fit a bust circumference of 80 to 140 centimeters. The designer does recommend you use an Aran weight yarn for this sweater, and the way she knits up her sample is using 2 fingering weights yarn held together, and I believe she mentions that she used 2 different shades for the yarns, so it gives it a more variegated look, which definitely adds a little bit more character to the sweater since it's so simple. So that is definitely something you could do as well. But I think for me, I would probably stick to just 1 shade, and I would just hold the 2 fingering weights held together like that. Now for this sweater, if I were to cast it on, I would probably stick to using a plant-based fiber as well for it, since it is more of a tight fit. So I would probably try to use a cotton yarn, a linen yarn, or a silk yarn, just because if I wear it for the spring or summer months and it's so hot and it's kind of fitted to me, I do not want to be sweating in it by knitting it up in 100% wool. So I would definitely stick to more of the plant-based fibers. And then another cool touch to the sweater that I forgot to mention, but the sleeves, they don't go just straight down. They do kind of flare out at the end, which is a little bit different than what we usually see in sweaters. So it definitely has a lot of cool characteristics to this pattern, and I would really love to hopefully cast this on. Alright, next pattern I wanted to share with you is the short tee by Anne Bensel. So it's a really pretty tee that is also worked top down, and it has a dainty lace pattern that goes all the way throughout it. I think it's really pretty, something different, and also reminds me of those spring summer months, since it is more open throughout it and the air blows through. It's not going to keep you very warm, of course, so definitely more appropriate for the warmer months. Now this pattern is started by casting on at the neck and then working in the round for a little bit until you need to separate the back from the front, and then once you get to the bottom of the armholes, you join in the round and then you continue knitting in the round for the body. And then for the sleeves, they will be picked up afterwards, and then she does work short rows in the sleeves to add a nice fit for the cap of the sleeves. I just feel that short rows always add a really nice fit to garments, so I always appreciate it when designers add this little detail in. And then for the sizes of the garment, it does range from size 1 to 5 to fit a bust circumference of 94 centimeters to 129 centimeters. And then the yarn recommended for this pattern is a DK weight, which has been probably the go-to for most of these patterns. But the way the designer knit this up was using a sport weight yarn held together with a lace weight yarn to create the DK weight of it. And I think it looks really nice with the lace weight. It does kind of add a little bit more fuzziness to it, which I think adds a pretty nice touch. And then the way she finishes off the garment is doing a twisted rib at the cuffs of the sleeve and of the body. So yeah, definitely a really pretty t-shirt and something that can be dressed up as well. I feel like most of these patterns I have to share are designs that can also be dressed up, which wasn't my intention to share, but it's funny that it kind of worked out that way. Okay, we're almost done, but the next piece I wanted to share with you is one that I am definitely going to cast on because this one is so elegant looking and I just can't resist. I have to cast this garment on, and the garment I'm talking about is the Manon cardigan by Morica Knit, which I hope I'm saying that correctly, but anyway, I will insert a picture so you can see. But the reason I like this cardigan so much is because of the moss stitch that is done all throughout it. I think it's so lovely, and then the double knit band that is down the center of it adds such a nice look to it as well, with the little buttons, the little fancy buttons. I think it's so pretty, has a very feminine look to it, and definitely reminds me of something that I would wear going out with the girls or out on a date night or something along those lines. So this garment is started by working at the top, and you do add in short rows, which of course we always appreciate that because it does shape the shoulders a bit, and then afterwards you will pick up stitches for the fronts and work increases. And then once you reach the bottom of the armholes, you will actually split the sleeves away and then work just the front and the backs together until you reach the bottom. And then afterwards, you'll go back in and pick up those stitches for the sleeves and then work those. So I am still trying to figure out if I want to knit short sleeve version or a long sleeve version. I think I really do like the short sleeve version though, so I probably will just stick to that. But I think a long sleeve would also be really pretty. But then after that, you do work the little band at the front, which is knit in a double knit band, which is my favorite type of band to knit because it adds a really nice look to it. Looks really store-bought in my opinion, which I always gravitate towards knits that look like that. It is a little bit more time consuming, but the end result is always really nice. And then I really like the neckline of the pattern as well because it's a lace pattern. It just looks really pretty, and I definitely appreciate the look of this garment. I think it's really lovely, and I'm really excited to cast this on. I actually did end up ordering the yarn for it already. I don't know when it will get here because I just ordered it today, but I ended up ordering the yarn recommended for the garment, which is called Cosma by Manon. I feel like I'm pronouncing these so wrong, but I was really intrigued to get this yarn because it features 60% of Pima cotton with 40% of modal or modal or whatever, however you say it. And I have felt Pima cotton yarn before. My mom has some and I really like the way it feels. It's like kind of buttery. It's like it's different than other cotton yarns I felt. It's like soft and buttery, and so when I saw this one, I was like, I need to get it. And so I did end up ordering the quantity amount of yarn I need for the garment, and so I'm really excited to cast this on and hopefully share an update on it on my next podcast, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, the yarn recommended for the garment is a DK weight yarn, which is what the yarn I bought is. But of course you can use any type of DK weight yarn for this. I just really liked the look of this yarn in the sample photos the designer posted. I just think it looks really even throughout, so I don't know, I'm really excited to try it, and I will let you guys know what I think of it when it actually gets here and I cast it on. Oh, and then also for the size range of the garment, it does go from an extra small to a 3XL to fit a bust circumference of 80 centimeters to 130 centimeters. So yeah, that is the Manon cardigan. Alright, I have one last piece to share with you guys, and that is the Solene cardigan, also by Marca Knit. Honestly, Marca Knit has literally some of the prettiest designs I have seen. I feel like they're really my type of knit garment that I gravitate towards, so I'm really happy I stumbled upon her designs, and this is definitely another one of my favorite patterns of hers, just because it is also something different. Yes, it's a cardigan, but those little I-cord bows at the front just adds a really nice touch to it, and so I am definitely excited to cast this on. I actually also already bought yarn for this garment, and it is the yarn that is recommended as well, which is what she used to knit up her light gray version of the cardigan. It's definitely a more pricier yarn, but I really like this cardigan, and I decided to splurge a little bit because this is yarn that I have wanted to try for a really long time, and I just thought this was the perfect opportunity. So I did end up getting the yarn she recommended for this pattern, and that is by Gepard Garn in the Pure Lana and then the cashmere lace held together. So I'm really excited to try it out. I think it's going to be a really nice yarn, and I will keep you guys updated on how it ends up turning out. I don't know if you guys would be interested if I made like a project vlog of me casting on any of these items and just letting you know the process of everything. Let me know if that's something that sounds interesting to you, and I will definitely think of making a video about that if that's something you guys want to see. But anyway, let's talk a little bit about this garment specifically. So this is another piece that is worked from the top down. So first you start by individually knitting up the shoulder pieces while adding the short rows, and then you'll connect those to work the back afterwards. And then you'll go in and pick up stitches for the front pieces while increasing to shape the V neckline that it has. After you reach a certain point, you will join the fronts with the back and then just kind of work back and forth like a cardigan until you reach the bottom, and then you'll go in and pick up for the sleeves at the end. And then again, you'll just work the band as a double knit like the previous pattern that I shared, which, like I said, is one of my favorite ways to do a band, even though it does take a little bit longer. And then the little special touch to this cardigan is that it does have those little I-cord pieces that you tie a little bow at the front, which this one actually has 2 bows. You could probably do 1 bow and that would be fine. But I'm really excited for this pattern. I think it's really pretty. I'm really excited to have it for the springtime or summertime just to wear on top of a tee. And then I don't think I mentioned, but the weight that is recommended for the yarn of this garment is an Aran weight. So I will be holding the Pure Lana with the cashmere lace held together to give it that Aran weight. And then for the size range of it, it does go from an extra small to a 3XL to fit a bust circumference of 80 centimeters to 130 centimeters. So yeah, that is the Solene cardigan by Marca Knit. It's a newer pattern that got released, I think, in the last couple months or so. So I'm really excited to have the yarn get here so I can cast it on already. I do have a few pieces that I need to finish before I should be casting on new items, but I don't know, these patterns are just so pretty in my opinion that I just cannot resist. I just have to cast it on. So yeah, those were the pieces that I wanted to share with you all. Let me know if any of these inspired you to cast something on as well. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and let me know what else you'd like to see from me. But other than that, I really appreciate you guys tuning in and all of the love and support that you show me. And other than that, that's it for today's video. So I will see you guys next time. Bye!